Hello fellow crushers, welcome to a new episode of GMB Crush. Today we're going to talk about City Pages SEO. So how does this work, what does it contain, what are the best practices? So without further ado, let's start. So what are City Pages and how are they helping your local SEO? So City Pages are landing pages that provide localized content to ensure a better user experience for your potential customers and gain more geographically relevant traffic, because that's what you want for local SEO. A city page is actually a local landing page. And a local landing page can consist out of different categories. For example, it can be like a country page, they can be divided into state pages, they can be divided into city pages, and they even go as far as neighborhood pages. Neighborhood pages you don't see too often, but if you have like certain service industry based, like a plumber for example, you can have neighborhood related pages. So here we're going to talk about the difference between a gateway page and a proper city page. It's important to know this because there are very much misconceptions about what a proper city page is. So let's start with what a doorway page is. So as you can see in this beautiful picture, like we have three items here, like for optimization of keywords. So it's over optimized for keywords and has very little relevant content. And this will redirect, for example, to your target page of a marketing agency. You probably will get the penguin penalty. Google doesn't like this. The same counts for poorly written content, of course, and moving the URL to an SEO page from an existing website. This is all not a proper city page. This is what Google identifies as the doorway content. So what is a doorway and gateway page in detail? So a doorway page basically is designed express for the purpose of ranking for as many keywords as possible by providing very little relevant information to the users who end up on the page. The pages act like a funnel into the website without providing any useful content on their own. As you might understand, Google doesn't like doorway gateway pages. It does provide value to their users and actually a bad user experience. This is one of the reasons why Google rolled out the Pigeon update. So what makes a proper city page? A proper city page provides useful content that creates value for the search intent of the user for that specific location and industry. So what does this mean? It means creating a unique page that accomplishes some or all of the following subjects. So it describes how you operate in the city or even in the neighborhood. So how long have you been operating in this area? It discusses the common challenges that people in that city or area will face relevant to your industry or products, and it demonstrates how your goods or services solve those challenges.
Okay, so how this works? As Roy said, a proper city page provides useful content that creates value for the search intent and provide also all the information that Google wants to see to boost your geo-relevancy. As we discussed on previous posts on the GMB Crushers Facebook group, if you didn't already join us, please have a look on Facebook. And what we have been discussing recently on the Facebook group, it was how you can rank in cities when you don't have address. So this is essentially where having multiple city pages makes a lot of sense from an SEO perspective. And as you can see here, we have been narrowing down the full strategy on how to create a very powerful city page SEO. So, for example, if you find an hotel or a resort next to your own location, to your own business location, you can actually see how Google is treating and collecting all the data regarding your location. So once you click to the overview section of any hotel next to your main business location, you will see another button that says more about location. So once you click to it, you will be redirected to an additional page that is breaking down how Google sees this location made of. So you got a neighborhood, information about the neighborhood. So you can also collect all this information and rewriting, adding those information into your city page. So then you can see if there are like important locations that needs to be mentioned or are accessible from your business, so that you can create additional Google Maps, including driving directions from a certain geolocation to your business location, so that you can eventually embed those Google Maps containing driving direction from a certain location to your business, and you can also embed them into the city pages. So it's very important to see first what Google recognizes as an important point of your main location. Then you can simply copy those information into a spreadsheet or a Google Doc document, and you can get a copywriter to rewrite every single information on. You can use tools like Jarvis and ConversionEye to rewrite and get a unique piece of content for each piece of information that you already fetch from those location pages. So back to the presentation. What elements should you try to include into a city page? So as we already say, you can copy that includes local keywords, neighborhoods, and what your city is known for. So as we say before, you can include things like things to do, airport, public transport details, information, and anything that you can include must be highly related to your location. So instead of just wondering what or which information you should include into your City Pages SEO, you can check what Google recognizes as the most important things for your specific location, and you can reverse engineer the process and get a unique piece of content replicating those important information into your City Pages SEO. Okay? It's also important for you to pay attention how you are creating meta description for those pages. So if you include power words or any other important keyword related to that specific location into your meta description, you will also able to boost the CTR, increase CTR metrics. And it's also important how you are structuring out your URL. So if you have a website that is targeting, for example, Amsterdam, you will have your main domain /Amsterdam and so on. You can also power up your pages, including powerful images. You can use free tools from Google Online just to see how certain images are seen by Google. So before to upload any picture into your city page, you can also test it out with Google tools, free Google tools, and see how Google reads that specific image. If it's a relevant image, you can easily include to your city page. Along with the images, don't forget also to include videos. For example, you can search for any relevant video on YouTube. If you find any nice video on YouTube that is talking and explaining more in details about your specific area, you can embed that video inside your landing page. And it's also very important how you are inserting certain other additional information, such as local contact information. So once you are mentioning, for example, like things to do, information about airports, information about public transports, and so on, you can also include additional contact information that will also boost the geo-relevancy of the page. And if you have some additional location that makes sense, including reviews in, It will be also good to include additional reviews from local customer. And once you have wrapping up all this information into your location page, it will be very powerful and effective.
So now we know a little bit more about what a city page is and what it consists of and how you should build the structure. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the tips for better city pages. So what you can do is include industry topics in your city page content. So for example, if you are a pest control company, you don't have to start with talking about your services. For example, you could start with statistics about what kind of pests are occurring in the area or in those specific neighborhoods even, and what are the causes for that. So this is a great way to showcase your knowledge both about your services and what you're doing, but also about the specific neighborhoods and places in the city. So aligning your content with the industry is a great way to enrich your content, help you come up with ideas for new unique content, create more useful and relevant content, and position your brand as a leader in the niche. So this last part might be very important because there might be a lot of different pest control companies in your city. But one way to stand out is to have a location page, maybe for each neighborhood or part of the city, and that you really showcase that you know what's going on there and that you're on top of it. This can set you aside from your competition. So include industry topics in your city page content. So implementing the points from the previous slide will boost your user experience, which in turn leads to better interaction metrics and Google rankings. So we have prepared a few more examples. So pest controls, which pests are common to the area, what are the dangers, what are the preventions, how do you remove it, make it eco-friendly, what kind of treatments, So one of the next examples is, for example, real estate. So what you can write about is the public transport close by. For example, here in Bangkok, it's really important to stay close to the BTS, to the SkyTrain stations, because of the really bad traffic in Bangkok. So by writing about it is close by certain BTS stations, Google will know what location you're talking about. People will know what location you're talking about, and you're providing value content that they need to know. Same counts for crime rates. So if you're selling a piece of real estate, what are the crime rates around the area? Well, here in Bangkok, for example, it's pretty good. But if you live in Chicago or Detroit or even New York, and you sell something about the Bronx, for example, it's good to know what crime rates and what kind of crimes are happening around this place. And of course, what kind of amenities, what kind of schools are nearby, what are the average costs of living in specific areas of the city. So these are all things you can write about also on your city page. So for plumbing, for example, you can start with do-it-yourself tips instead of talking about your services. You can also talk about local challenges and rules. So maybe your local town or your local government, you cannot do certain things which you can do in other cities, and you can showcase that knowledge and explain it to people. How to save on your water bill, like little tips and tricks, and of course common plumbing problems and solutions. So these are just a few examples of industry topics that you can talk about on your city pages, and we can highly recommend to utilize that. Google will definitely like it. Then next to the industry topics, you have to create strong call to actions, also known as CTAs. The call to action should follow through on the search intent, providing assurance to the reader that they are in the right place and taking action that will align them with a local product or service. If you have a well-built city page and getting the right geographical traffic, a strong call to action can increase your conversion rates significantly. When a visitor sees that you know what you are talking about, knows the local area in and out, and following up on their search intent, the right call to action placement can make a potential client choose to engage right away with you. So if you have a very well built city page and you already explained the city topics, make sure you have some really strong call to actions based on the search intent, and we can guarantee that your conversion rates will go up. Another tip that we can give is to link your city pages to well-known local sources. So what are local sources, right? So in order to make your site seem hyper-local and improve value for your visitors, you might want to link out to local sources. One way of doing this is by linking high-quality authoritative sources that actually provide some value, such as maybe your Chamber of Commerce or local organization websites, municipal websites like local government websites. So another option will be linking up with local attractions like very well-known shopping malls, restaurants, important buildings. So if you're in Rome, the Tower of Pizza, for example. However, keep in mind, don't create competition for yourself. So actually, if one of those buildings is your competition, for example, you might not want to do that. Another tip we can give while building your city pages is include neighborhoods and nearby towns. By including information about neighborhoods in your city page content, you also benefit with search ranking, since the names of the neighborhoods are often semantically related keywords, especially since Google already knows all the neighborhoods, all the postal codes in a certain city. So it's easy for Google then to relate. So this naturally makes your page more relevant to the search engine's eyes and can boost your ranking. So the same counts for local attractions, public transport points, airports, name of popular shopping malls, and go on and go on. So anything that you can use that clearly identifies the location that you're talking about, use it. Anything goes. So now we know what a good city page is. Let's go over what will make a bad city page and could be classified by Google as a doorway or a gateway page and could get you penalized. So one thing that you want to avoid very much is avoid thin content that provides little or no value at all. Like you see many of the city pages, or even sometimes contact pages, that just have the contact form and it has like maybe half a paragraph of text and that's it. This doesn't help. Another thing to avoid is stuff the pages with too many keywords. So the common problem of keyword stuffing, that's way too obvious, especially in combination with the thin content. It's just ridiculous, and I don't even understand why people are doing it. So try to put some effort into it and show Google that you're talking about a certain location, talking about your services, and avoid the keyword stuffing and thin content. Another thing is creating pages for locations where you don't offer the service just for the purpose of gaining SEO rankings. So this is also a common thing. So some companies, they want to look very big and they probably maybe serving in one location, but they're putting all the locations of the city on there, but they're not providing the services, or they don't have any locations registered there, no business locations. So this is a thing you want to avoid. You will create a lot of confusion for your customers or potential customers, and actually you're cutting your own finger with that. Create pages without including content that enhances user experience and makes your services relevant locally. So what does this mean? So if you create a page without content that doesn't really follow up on the search intent of the user won't be able to relate and resonate with your content, and they will just click away. And of course, what we've been talking about, creating city pages without local information about the city. So it's a shame if you have a nice city page and you plan out your content well, you have your call to actions, but you're not utilizing geo mentions. So like we talked about before, geo mentions are the important parts of your city, famous neighborhoods, famous restaurants, big shopping malls, public transport. Utilize all these points that identify your location. Now, as a little bonus, like how could a city page look, or how should it look? Of course, this is just an example of how it can be done. It will differ for every niche. Not everything is completely possible to fill in. So just use common sense and try to improve and see what you can use for your service or product. So first, of course, we start with a title including a primary keyword. Make this an H1. Then we will need a meta description including your primary keyword and of course other keywords that can be naturally worked in. Don't keyword stuff. H1 including primary keyword 1 and focusing on the primary intent. Very important. Then you can write like a short intro. Then you follow up with content focusing on your primary intent. So what you want to bring over, what's your most important point that you want to let the potential customer know about your service or product. Then an H2 header focusing on your second intent, followed of course by relevant content for this second intent. Include your appropriate keywords. Include at least one local link, very important. An H2 header focusing on your third intent, if you have it, followed by relevant content. Include again the appropriate keywords and at least one local link. So this sounds like a lot, and maybe you don't have a second or third intent, then you can just work with your first primary intent. But then do make sure that you include at least one local link. By including this local link, you can let Google know that you know what you're talking about, and because you're linking to a new page, Google can see the data on that other pages you're linking with and establish the relevancy. Thank you for watching our video again. If you liked it, please press the like and subscribe button, and we hope to see you the next time. Have a great day.